morning. My name is Lorrie. Welcome to A Study in Scarlet. This week we are making this block. Well, for the next 3 weeks we are making parts and pieces of this block. It is called Cathedral Window. Let me turn to my rough copy pattern and we will take a look at the fabrics and then we will make part of it today. So, as I read down through and look at this block is 20 inches. It uses 4 at a time flying geese in several places, and it does have some hourglass blocks. And I wrote a note to myself, units are outlined, so you can see where there's big units so that construction will be easy. First of all, I have my fussy cut parts for the center, and then out here toward the corners, there's the center block. And then all of the 4 corners are the same fussy cut block. Let me set those aside. I have dark blue for these outside corners. Let me find that dark blue. I had it here a few moments ago, so I know I did not forget it. Oh, there it is. It's hiding underneath. There's the dark blue for the 4 corners. And then the pink for in the flying geese and the hourglass blocks, 4 5.5-inch blocks. And then I have background. I have 8 3-inch squares for the flying geese. I have 8 2.5 by 4.5-inch rectangles for the outside edge of the block. And I have 1 5.5-inch square for 4 at a time flying geese, which are here in the center. And last but not least, I have the dark purple. I have 4 5.5-inch blocks. 2 of these will be used for hourglass blocks, and 2 of these will be used for the 4 at a time flying geese that are here in the outside edge. I have 12 3-inch blocks that will be used for the flying geese blocks with pink. And then I also have 4 2.5-inch squares that will be used around the center. So let's sort this out. First of all, I need to pull the parts for the hourglass blocks. So I need 2 of the pinks and 2 of the 5.5-inch purples, because that is the unit we are going to construct today. I also, let's see, I need to put let's put this in a pile. The fussy, I'm just going to put all the fussy cuts together, and the blue squares, and these 2.5 by 4.5-inch pieces. And I can grab that other fussy cut, that one for the center, later. Now I need all the parts and pieces for all the flying geese. There are 3 different kinds of flying geese here. There is the background with the purple. So anytime I'm doing one background, I'm pulling 4 of the other color. So there's the center flying geese. Then I need the 2 pinks. I hope you can still see this. The 2 pinks and the 8 3-inch purples. So that's another set of flying geese. And the last set of flying geese are these ones along the outside edge. And there are 8 of those, so I need 2 purple squares and 8 background squares. So here is my pile for the flying geese. This is next week's block. And this also goes toward the center. I'm going to put this over here with the fussy cuts. So now, this week, this pattern will be all typed up and beautiful and waiting for you in the comments below so you can print it. We need to make these hourglass shapes. This is easy, just requires a little marking. Let me get my tools and we can get started. I have my Friction pen and I grabbed this Quilter's Magic Wand. You remember I found this in a box of stuff at a yard sale. Let me show you how this works. This makes, when you're marking from corner to corner, even easier. You put the middle line on the corners, and then you mark a sewing line, and you'll sew right on that line, and then you'll cut down the middle. So now, instead of marking down the middle and guessing at where my 1/4 inch is, if I sew on the line, it will be 1/4 inch, and then I can either trim, cut them apart with a rotary cutter and a ruler, or scissors like I normally do. If you're into a scant 1/4 inch, or scant of a 1/4 inch, I should say, you probably won't like this, but, and I see it says Studio 180 Designs is where this came from. So, cute little handy thing. And I know it comes in an 8-inch version also. So, let's get to pairing up and doing some sewing. So now that I'm over here by the machine, I have the pink paired up with the purple, and I'm going to sew on the lines and get 4 triangles from these 4 pieces of fabric. Let me put it on speed sew. Usually I would just cut on the line with scissors, but since I happen to have my ruler here and a rotary cutter, I'm just going to cut, and there are my half square triangles. I'm not done yet. I need both of these cut. And I need to press these open to the dark side. Be back in just a minute. I'm ready to line up and mark so that I can make the hourglasses. Oh, Honey the Bunny's helping us. Oh, there she is. So cute. At any rate, back to what we're doing. So I need to pair these up and flip them so that the purple and the pink are opposites. And I line those up. And I'm going to do the same method of marking from corner to corner that I did before. And my blue Friction pen does show up on the purple. If this works out, this might be my new favorite way to mark half square triangles and 1/4 square triangles. So now I will take that with the opposites together, and I can feel them nesting, and if I'm worried about it, I can always put a pin in, and I'm going to sew on the blue lines. Let me mark the other one and get it done. And actually, I could mark it without lining them up. I can line them up afterwards. It's probably easier to mark it that way. Now I'll line it up. And I'm not going to worry about these overhanging dog ears right now because, you know, I like to trim things up after I'm all done. Let me go to the machine and sew on my lines, and I'll be back in a moment. Okay, I have sewn on the lines. I am back here. You can see it better on this side. Doesn't really matter which side we cut from. I'm gonna line it up on 1/4 inch. And there I have an hourglass. So now I have 4 hourglass blocks, but they need trimmed to 4.5 inches. So let me press them and we will do some trimming and we will be done with this block, this part of the block for this week. These are all pressed. I need to find a ruler. You can use your favorite trimming method, and there isn't a lot of extra, but this will get rid of those dog ears and any little extra that may be there for whatever reason. But there's not a lot of extra. So set those 4 blocks aside once you have them trimmed up. And next week we will tackle all the flying geese units. There's not much waste at all from trimming those. And now they are perfect blocks to set into a bigger block. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Study in Scarlet, making the hourglasses. Please join me on Friday for Blabfest Friday.